magic to work, you have to truly believe in the magic.
Obviously, the boys last recorded on the 25th of November. Since then, the Magic have played just the 2 games against the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday and the Washington Wizards last night. Before then, we need to talk about the in-season tournament now that the group stages are over with. If you're watching on YouTube, you might see a few little glum faces. But essentially, we needed a few favours in order to qualify. And, the odds were in our favour. We needed either a Toronto Raptor win, which would have nullified any sort of issue with regard to to points, or we needed the Brooklyn Nets to win by less than 13, which happened. It was only a 12-point win for them. But unfortunately, the Boston Celtics beat the Chicago Bulls by 27 when they needed to beat them by 23. So unfortunately for us, the Celtics advance as the group winners on this occasion. And the Magic also miss out on the best second place team. I think the New York Knicks, and in fairness, they finished rather emphatically, didn't they? They had like a plus 40 something.
43, something like that. Huge advantage. Yeah, you can't argue with them going through, really.
Oh, no, absolutely not. So first of all, guys, just wanted to get your opinion on the format and everything the in-season tournament's been all about. What was your thoughts, Angus?
I like the idea of the tournament. It's another incentive to play games, and there's a prize at the end. It's always same here. There are teams that are less likely to win the whole thing. So if you give them the incentive to win a cup or something like that, it makes every game meaningful. The way it's done is maybe needing tweaked, because you had the teams playing in the last night that knew exactly what they needed to do. So to solve that problem, you might have to work out a way that the teams play all at the same time. So they don't know, we needed, like Boston knew they had to go out and win by 23, was it? 24, 23, 24?
23, that was it, yeah.
And so they knew they had to go out and run up a score, which I found actually a little bit ironic when was it Jason Tatum or
it was
came out Tatum and says, I don't like the idea of running up scores like that. Then ironically they had to actually go out and do it, and actually went out and did it. Although it does give me another team to test a bit in the Bulls as opposed but we'll leave Vooch out of that, but a sudden new dislike for the Bulls. But overall, I think it's a good idea, but it could do with maybe tweaking a bit.
Did you see the coach of the Celtics having to explain to the Bulls coach that we're not being disrespectful. We are chasing a score. That's why we're fouling. Was it Drummond that kept fouling?
Yeah,
I think it was Andre Drummond that kept fouling. We're not being disrespectful. We are chasing a score. This is what we've got to do. I thought that was interesting, because I don't think it's quite computed across to every team and the coach that there is this points differential. We very much used to goal difference or away goals counting in the sports that we have over here, and more so in Europe. I think it's a little bit more of a unknown quantity to American friends, and I don't think as a result they've quite got that idea with this tournament so far.
What was the game we were up about 40 in the tournament, and he stuck the third string in, and I sat there and says to myself, is this, or he stuck them in really early, like 5-6 minutes to go, and I thought to myself, is this going to cost us with this points differential?
That was the Toronto game, I believe.
We also, we did it against Brooklyn when we lost, didn't we? And we did it to an element against Boston as well. The question that you've asked, G, I've been a real fan of this tournament. I think it's excellent. I hadn't took much notice of the format, I'll be honest, until kind of that fourth game, where you realise that, hang on, we've now finished, and everybody else in our group has got a game remaining. And as Angus has said, that's been a huge advantage to both Brooklyn and to Boston. Something I hadn't considered before. They knew what targets they needed. That being said, as we've just highlighted, the fact that we're not progressing is partly down to ourselves. to be it coaching decisions made or be it players not recognising, particularly in that first instance, the Brooklyn game, that we were still playing for something at that point. My thoughts on reshaping it is that you bring in a 4-team group. So you've got four groups in each conference. Your teams. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Does it?
No, you need 15 to be broken down into.
You've got to try and figure out how to get an even number of teams in each group, so as you can play that final group where all the teams that you have in that group play at the same time. So you can't have an odd number of teams. That's going to be very, very difficult to do with time zones that can be involved and the number of teams that we have, because breaking 30 down into a number of...
You're looking at 5 groups of 6 is the only way I can see breaking it down.
Yeah. That's so it becomes a bit of a challenge because you've then got teams outside of their own conference playing one another. But personally, I would rather see, if there was some way of doing it, I'd rather see the top team from each group advance and none of this wildcard stuff.
That would make sense. I did read on Twitter, I can't remember for the life of me who put the tweet out or the X message, whatever it was. But I really like this idea. So apologies, I can't remember who it was. But the idea was to score it by quarter. So if you win a quarter, you get 1 point. You get 3 points for winning the match. And then you get bonus points for winning said quarters. If there was any ties, there's no extra points. There's no extra points for overtime or whatever. So literally, you add the points then at the end. So there's an opportunity to win. You win 3 quarters, 4 quarters. You could have 7 points for that one game, and then to add it up with the same group formatting as we've got at the moment. Just another idea. And I think people would be able to work out better where they were before the last game then, and give the opportunity for the team who doesn't play on the last day. There wouldn't be as much of an unfair advantage with knowing how many points they need to score.
Yep.
In a roundabout way. Sorry.
Difficult
to get that out.
difficult to work out a fair way to do it because of the number of teams that you have. Perhaps expand the league by 2.
Yeah.
16 in each conference, 4 and 4.
8 groups of 4.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, actually. There we
go.
Solve your problem.
And I've got to be honest, I would like to see the league expanded. I would like to see another 2 teams come into it.
That'd be the Supersonics and the Vegas team then.
The problem is there, Angus, they're both out west.
True.
So you'd have... I think you'd have either Oklahoma or New Orleans, looking at geography. So...
I mean, Texas isn't that far west, is it? Let's be honest. That's...
No.